Hello, everyone. Wow, it's our first PS5 footage, I believe. So, we got a special code in the mail from Sony slash PlayStation slash Insomniac Games. So, thank you so much for that. Yeah, hashtag. This is a free code for preview slash review purposes. But yeah, this is Ratchet Clank Rift Apart for the PlayStation 5. Damn, Ratchet is still so good.
I'm not sure, which is the luckier pull, Ryan, on your part, getting a free code for this game or having a PS5 in the first place.
I have my methods on getting consoles.
Yeah. Well,
Shakes fist.
I'm looking forward to this game. I don't know when I'm going to be able to play it, but, geez. It looks like the best Ratchet game in, 2 whole console generations, to be honest. But maybe that's just my perspective.
I haven't played every game in the franchise, so I'm not entirely sure about that. But from all accounts, it seems to be really good. So also, they wanted me to note that I will be using fidelity mode, so we'll get all the fancy ray tracing and graphics and stuff. So locked in at 30 frames per second, I believe. But for a game like this, you don't need hyper fast 60 FPS. So wanted to look as cool as possible. But you can change it to a 60 FPS mode if you want.
That's good.
Shiny.
Personally, for a game like Ratchet, I would prefer the 60 FPS just because the camera's swiveling around so much, and you're the combat is shooter combat, so 60 FPS helps. But it does look very nice graphically, so I could understand people going that way as far as their preferences go. Choices are good.
Yep. I know we say this every console generation, but damn, it looks like you're playing a movie.
I remember when Tools of Destruction came out, people commented on the graphics like it finally looks like you're playing a Pixar movie, but no, this actually does look like you're playing a Pixar movie.
That was the blurb on the back of the box. It was make you feel like you're in a Pixar movie. And this is the first time I'm really, because I've always I kept myself kind of off the side of watching a lot of Rift Apart stuff, because I'm I want to be as clean as possible. This is the first time really watching. I'm holy shit. I knew it looked good, but I'm God, this this actually looks good.
This isn't cutscene graphics either. This is stuff you're actually going to be seeing in game.
Yeah, I can tell.
But yeah, we're not going to be jumping around. This is just straight up the first hour of the game. Want to not spoil everyone on jokes, plot relevant stuff, and so on. So
is this
nothing too spoilery here? So just wanted to make sure we noted that.
Is this game out already, or are we doing this?
It came out today.
It came out today. Oh, okay.
Today? That's tomorrow.
No, today.
I haven't kept an eye on release dates for this one because, to be honest, since I'm not gonna have a PS5 for a while, I didn't want to get too hyped up over it. But just from what footage that I have seen, I'm really interested in it. And I know it's not gonna tickle my Ratchet 1 sensibilities. It's much closer to Tools of Destruction and the games after that, but still, at the same time, it looks so fun.
Even Ratchet at its worst is still pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, I would still play the Ratchet reboot, but
It's okay. See?
the frickin' emoji helmet. I've been interested in this character actually. I have no idea what her deal is, but I've seen her in trailers and stuff. I know that
the furry community went after her real quick.
She has Sophia's helmet. That's great.
That is a poster ripped straight out of Jack and Daxter.
Oh yeah. That kind of is, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm getting some real Haven City vibes from this place. Okay.
I'm gonna kill Nefarious.
I'd almost like to see a dark revenge story involving Dr. Nefarious, just because
That's actually exactly what the plot is.
Oh, really? Okay. So
yeah. So basically, the plot of the story is Dr. Nefarious is back. He steals the dimension warper thing, yes, and he transports everyone to a universe where he won. So
that's
basically ripping off the plot of Phineas and Ferb across the second dimension. You have the very goofy, you have the very goofy regular Dr. Nefarious, and then you have the Dr. Nefarious that actually is evil that took over the world.
Okay, that's interesting.
And there's Quark with his new voice actor.
Oh, they changed voice actors for him. That's gonna be
Well,
weird.
yeah.
Well, his voice actor was unfortunately very sick.
Yeah.
For the last while. So
That's unfortunate. It's gonna be weird having Quark without his classic voice. After
it's pretty
so
close
many
to
games.
it's pretty close to how it is. So.
Yeah, it's just we've had the voice unchanged for like the entire franchise up to this point. Even for
I was
his
turning
like,
on subtitles because I forgot to do so.
like even for his 2-second cameo at the end of Dreadlocked.
I believe
So-
it's a Scott White who's actually the current voice of Crash.
Yep, that's correct. He just announced that the other day, I think.
And Robert Atkin Downes plays Emperor Nefarious.
Is that a voice actor change too?
Well, no, regular Nefarious is still Armin Shimmerin, but then like the evil Nefarious is Atkin
The actual
Downes.
competent,
the
yeah,
evil
the actual competent
Nefarious.
Nefarious.
Yeah.
Okay.
the competent evil Nefarious.
So Nefarious Nega. Okay. Okay. So like, apparently we're starting off in like good universe here, regular Ratchet and
Yes.
Clank universe. So
Yep,
what like?
throwing a parade for our heroes, Ratchet and Clank.
Wait. So is the girl Lombax like alternate universe Ratchet in this game? Is that where we're going with this?
It's hard to say because we haven't gotten that far in the game.
Oh, she does kind of look like Blaze the Cat.
That was what we always assumed. Like the first time she showed up in the trailers, everyone's like, "Oh, it's alternate. It's Miles Morales, Ratchet."
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank Rush Adventure. Okay.
I also think it's really cool in this one because the whole thing with Ratchet, like Ratchet and Clank, have always been like, oh, they're like the saviors of the
Oh,
world, but they're
God.
always just been like the guys on like the side, and it's like, oh, it's like Quark's kind of been like the guy who's like the big person who like takes all the fame. So now it's like, oh shit, they're actually like putting on a big parade for Ratchet and Clank and being all like, oh yes, these guys are the heroes of the universe.
I wonder if like they're finally trying to pull in some of that like consumerist satire with this whole with this whole parade sequence, because if not, then oh boy, the irony. But like, okay, this is a very pretty introduction, I'm going to say. Like,
Yeah, the game's absolutely gorgeous.
oh yes, it is, but like, there's a lot going on visually here, and like even in the distance with the audience stands, it doesn't look like they're pulling quite as many of the corner cutting measures graphically that they usually do for that sort of thing. So it all looks very, very nice.
Goons for less, but not thugs for less.
Goons for less. I guess thugs for less went out of business at some point.
Yeah, getting into the actual gameplay a little bit, the DualSense, or the PS5 controller, as most people just call it, is actually a big part of how the game plays because of the haptic triggers. It now lets you shoot in different ways by how hard you push the trigger button. So, like halfway or light tap is just one tap, is a more accurate one shot, while holding it lets you just rapid fire the weapon.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the basic blaster has had that kind of function for a while. But
it feels much better with the actual resistance from the controller.
I can imagine with a more precise button, it would be more intuitive.
Very much so.
Oh boy, I guess that means we don't necessarily need the distinction between a less rapid fire weapon and a more rapid fire weapon anymore.
Not necessarily, no. I mean, you still get your typical joke weapons. You get your typical, oh, here's our totally not shotgun weapon, and so on.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of weapons that they can pull out in this game with the new technology. But the real...
sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, but like the real attraction here is the stuff that they're pulling with the solid state drive. With this
Oh yeah,
game.
we'll definitely be seeing some. We'll definitely be seeing some of that, but yeah, we'll be seeing quite a few new weapons along the path of this playthrough.
This is reminding me a lot of the Tools of Destruction introduction, though. Although it's obviously more lighthearted because that was like an actual invasion. But
yeah, that is very similar. Yeah, like you're going through Metropolis, and then you got all the Cragmites coming down.
lots of spectacle, jumping from place to place within the city. But there's a lot more environmental variety here because we're going through parade floats based on different levels from the past games, apparently. Like, this is the pirate-themed float.
Yeah, it's a fun little callback to a lot of different things.
Yeah. Oh God.
And
like,
you're jumping on the balloons just like in Spider-Man.
I compared the game to Sonic Rush Adventure earlier, but we've already like done the whole robot pirate thing, haven't we?
Ghost robot pirates.
Ghost robot pirates, which was originally a joke in one of Captain Quark's videos or something, and then they
Yeah.
actually brought like robot ghost pirates into the game.
Well,
And
well,
then there- and
yeah.
we'll see them actually in the reality warping segment in a little bit. So
Well, we have right there. There's a what's his face. I forget what his name, but why is he here? Because he was a bad guy last we saw him. So I was like, why are you still here?
Oh man, I hope there's a full-on Metropolis level with these graphics because goddamn, looks very pretty.
well the first world entirely after this intro sequence is basically just the Not Haven city. So look, this is just your run down your pretty linear hallway, get used to the control sort of
Yeah,
situation.
but I hope we get a full level of Metropolis with these graphics. It would be nice. I love that environment
Yeah.
so much in Ratchet 1, and seeing it upgraded and Tools of Destruction was amazing, even if it was kind of a short level. And, I'd like to see a full level, just for old time's sake. Oh! Okay.
When I see you using the wrench to fight enemies, it's like, no, you're only supposed to shoot them so you get all the XP.
Yeah, I know. I use the wrench for like really small guys if they're like crowding me or something.
Oh,
but-
they're still doing that. You have to use the weapons to level them up thing. Yeah, it's not one of my favorite additions from the sequels.
Oh man, I don't know. I love that because it gives you a reason to want to use every single weapon. Is because you want to level up all of your weapons. So it's like even like weapons I would normally not want to use. It'd be like, I want to level them up. So
I'm not sure how it works per se, but I wish if you wanted to use the wrench, you could, and say instead of that XP going to your gun, it more went directly to Ratchet, so you leveled up your health and stuff
on the
faster.
other
If
hand,
you wanted to go that route.
On the other hand, the thing that always bothered me about it is that once you've finished leveling up a weapon for that particular playthrough, using that weapon becomes a waste of. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But it's like at least with like later games when you can level them up to like 5 times, so you're going to be using that weapon for a while. So it's like in Going Commando, it's like once you use it, it's kind of useless. But then all the other games, I think they found the perfect balance. Level up and,
I'll agree they started doing it better in later games. I wasn't fond of a lot of the balance stuff in Going Commando. Great game otherwise, but they were paying so little attention to balance in that game that they actually introduced the bouncer. So, that got a little crazy. Sometimes a good kind of crazy, but I kind of wish the final boss was a little harder.
Oh yeah, well I mean everybody says the final boss of Going Commando is like the weakest aspect.
It's fun enough if you like purposely avoid using the bouncer, but yeah, if you don't do that, it goes down like a sack of bricks.
Clank, you're so shiny.
I do like this model of Ratchet, but I still feel like the model in A Crack in Time is still my favorite Ratchet model. I think that was like the perfect look for him.
Wait, they're bringing this up publicly at the.
Yes.
Oh.
You idiot! Just leave out the Dimensionator. It's like, no problem.
Okay. So, did they hire you to be part of this nefarious, or what?
No, he's just here to steal the Dimensionator.
Okay.
Also, it has a wind-up crank.
So, if this is an attempt to finally tie Nefarious in with the commercialist stuff, I'm vaguely impressed. Somehow I don't think it is, but it would be nice if it was. Just a little bit. As a callback.
No, this is a digital game, Nefarious. It doesn't have an instruction manual.
I was really glad when I heard about, because I was expecting this to be just kind of like either a more standalone game or another reboot-esque, but to see like, they're like, it's like an actual sequel to the future games, like the Dimensionator from Tools of Destruction is like the major plot point. It's like, they could have easily just made another dimension hopping thing, but it's like, oh no, they brought that in, so like it's so glad that they did that.
And I'm glad to be at least back to this universe, if not back to like the really old school tone of the games, because like, okay, the reboot wasn't a bad game. It was significantly worse than the game it was based on, but it was fun enough to play. I couldn't get over how wooden the characters were, though. So, revisiting a universe where Ratchet is actually fun as a character, that's very nice. It's like, I don't need the satire back as long as Ratchet and Clank are like characters that I can like again. That, you know, I'm a very simple man with simple expectations, so, you know, I'm glad to like be able to look at these characters and smile when they talk again. Hello. Okay, so like, this is fun. I mean, where the environment's sort of rocking back and forth as you fight. I hope they do something interesting with this before this level ends, because that's something that you could really do some fun things with in this gameplay style. Oh boy, it's falling.
The eyes on Nefarious do look really weird to me. It's like just like super as detailed as possible. Nefarious is like
Oh yeah, we can see that.
You can there's like weird
the robot eyes underneath the glass and everything. Yeah, I'm liking the look of Nefarious. I am kind of bitter that Nefarious has sort of become the default villain of the series. We used to have like a different villain in every game, and that continued right up through the future series. But Nefarious has sort of taken over.
I was rewatching the cutscenes of Crack in Time recently because I was like, oh, it's been a while since I did that. I was watching every time Nefarious popped up. I'm like, okay, I remember why I love this guy because he's just so like every part of his dialogue is perfect. So I'm just like, yeah, even though he does have that thing of like overexposure, but I do love him every time he shows up.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
He's not showing up in every game though, so at least there's that.
His dialogue is really good, and they've managed to keep him consistent in terms of quality. I do appreciate that. I just, you know, I miss some of the other villains and the creativity that came with that. I wish they'd at least like share screen time. He'd at least share screen time with other villains from time to time, a little bit more. But you know.
I mean, like, in comparison to other, you had, like, Drek was pretty good in the first one. The second one pretty much didn't have a villain, so it's, like, it's kind of hard to count that. Tachyon was okay. Like, Tachyon was just kind of, like, generic, crazy conqueror. The robot pirates were pretty cool, but it's like the robot pirates and like the Thugs for Less guys. Those are like kind of like funny like side.
Don't forget Drek. Drek is
Oh well, yeah, of course. I said Drek.
He's one of my favorites. Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, I said Drek was a gym in the first game. Is a legitimately good villain.
Drek. Did I say? I mixed up his name.
Quark, I guess technically is like
I'm thinking of the guy from Dreadlocked. I thought his
Deadlock. Thing is, I haven't played Deadlock, so I'm not sure about.
Oh, is that the not Fox News guy?
Yes, he's kind of. His name.
I cannot remember his name, but
his name is on the tip of. I haven't played Dreadlocked since literally the PS2, so. But I remember really loving this guy's dialogue and his presence on screen and everything.
Also, it isn't Dreadlocked, it's Deadlocked.
What was it? Dreadzone? Dreadzone was the name of the show. It's Deadlocked. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. And then in full frontal assault, they had like a random nerd guy that appeared in like once in one of the games be the villain.
That's a gag that can work sometimes. I haven't played Full Frontal Assault though.
It's very because it's a tower defense game, so pretty much just describes like, do you like tower defense games? If not, you're not.
Yeah,
I didn't really care for it. I did enjoy All for One for what it was.
I never actually tried that. It just sort of slipped past me. It was around that time where I fell off the series. I have Tools of Destruction, and I have Quest for Booty. I have the short game that came after the second future game, but I never actually... I have that one, but I never actually got the second future game. So I haven't played that one yet. Like, I've
Crack in Time, you haven't played, yeah.
Crack in Time, that's the one. I've spoiled myself on the story like nobody's business, but I never got around to actually buying it.
Crack in Time, I don't think it's the best Ratchet game, but it is probably my favorite, just because I love all of the gameplay aspects of it. I love the story. I think it's like it's kind of like the Sonic Unleashed to me, where I feel like aesthetically it's like it feels like the best package to me, even if there are like certain gameplay things where it's like, I think this is better in some games, this is better in another game, but it's like overall I just like how it ends up.
Oh yeah, I get you. I'm not super de-duper fond of Crack in Time's art style. I think this game looks generally better than that one. But yeah, this Crack in Time had a kind of a weird cell shady look to it sometimes, which always kind of
Behold
put
our
me off.
solid state drives.
Oh yes, the solid state drives. This is actually something that well, that wasn't the most super impressive showing of it, but we're going to be jumping from environment to environment in these wormhole
definitely.
things, and like that's all possible because the game is allowed to assume that you have a solid state drive in your console because all PS5s have those. You couldn't really do this on a PC game yet because you wouldn't be allowed to really assume that the player has a solid state drive. So like this is one of the rare instances of console gaming actually surpassing the master race for now.
Yeah, it's like Insomniac is doing the thing where it's like, oh, it's like you don't like at this point having the best looking like graphics and the most realistic like textures and stuff isn't what's most impressive. What's most impressive is like being able to do this thing where you can have instant loading and instant like, oh, you can have one environment instantly change into a completely different environment with like just in an instant. So just them being able to do that and have the actual look be these like cartoon, like have it look like a cartoon and have it do things that no other system. Oh my god, they turned into pears.
They can load in a lot more diverse graphical assets more quickly on demand, and you know when they do that, it's not just graphical wow factor. They're actually integrating it into the gameplay on a moment-to-moment basis, and that's really impressive. And it's part of the reason I was so excited for this game because, you know, as much as I love Ratchet, by the time the future games happened, a lot of the gameplay formula had become fairly humdrum. And I could appreciate the new weapons that they introduced from time to time, but overall the evolution of Ratchet and Clank as a gameplay experience had slowed down quite a lot. And, you know, now we've got this new element that represents a significant leap forward, and it's introduced right out the gate of the game. And yes, all of my yes, just take my money. If only I could find a PS5.
Well, for me, finding a PS5 isn't actually an issue. It's more so about having the money for it, and I'm like, I can't afford a PS5 right now.
Well, if finding one is easy enough, but having the money for it, you might try something like, I don't know, Quad Pay or Klarna or something like that. The whole pay part of the price every 2 weeks kind of deal.
I'm probably gonna find somebody. If you're gonna find somebody who has a PS5 and then borrow, I mean steal it. I mean.
Okay, quote unquote borrowing a game is one thing. Quote unquote borrowing a system is another thing entirely.
Yeah. I did do that for the PS. There was like 2 games on the PS4 before I got one myself. I borrowed a friend's PS4 just so I could play like 1 or 2 games because I'm like.
I assume you gave it back.
Yeah,
right?
no, I gave it back, but it's like
That's why I said quote unquote because quote unquote means you're not actually giving it back.
Yeah.
The
Not
Rift,
stealing, borrowing.
the Rift system just looks so silky smooth. It's great. Oh man, I can't wait to get my hands on this goddamn game and a system to play it on.
Earlier we got the not shotgun, and how that works, just to change topic a smidge, is that it's double barreled. So if you click it halfway, it does 1 shot. If you do full, it does full shots.
Oh, so you can do half damage or full damage rather than okay. That's interesting
so
because
cool,
like previous controllers, we've seen games where you have a gun that can fire rapid fire and it can also fire single shots, and that's easy enough to do on old school controllers. The third handgun in Resident Evil 8 can basically be turned into a submachine gun if you want, but you can still do single shots if you're careful with your trigger presses. But like having precise enough control that we could have alt fire modes on one button, that's impressive. I hope they do some interesting things with that too. Because
we saw, and we'll see later with the grenade, is that if you press the button halfway, it brings up the line as to where you'll throw it, and then you press it all the way to throw it. If you're in a hurry, you can just press it and he'll throw it automatically.
The closest I can think of is something like with the GameCube controller, how like in something like Sunshine, where it's like depending on how much you press the R trigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, the Zircons are the people in charge of the shop this time. That's pretty cool.
What?
We'll see alternate dimension Zircon later too as well, and she's in alternate dimension Zircon's great.
Oh, I love the Zircons, so I'm like, yes,
man.
any more Zircons, I'm happy for.
If well, if they keep doing funny things with Zircons that aren't just the Mr. Zircon weapon, then I'm content with that.
Well, we saw earlier that they was giving you explanations as to how the weapons worked, and it was with basically a sales pitch Zircon Jr.
Zircon is another one of those funny things that's kind of been overdone in the series, though. So I don't know. I'd have to see like what its execution throughout the entire game is like. But that depends on execution more than anything.
First pistol,
The Enforcer. It's a great name.
good old shotty. That's what I call all the shotguns, just shotties.
What does the game look like while it's playing 30 FPS? I didn't
Effectively like this.
Oh, I mean,
Lots of great lighting effects, lots of details kind of bouncing
I
around.
mean, like
rather than...
how smooth does it look like when the camera turns rapidly? Are they using motion blur again?
No, it's perfectly smooth.
Oh, okay. It's like
I didn't have any problem moving the camera at all in this game.
one of my issues with the Ratchet and Clank reboot is like trying to go.
They overdid the blur, yeah.
Yeah, they overdid the blur when the camera turns, and it's just like going to that and playing one of the levels that I'm used to in the original game, which runs at 60 FPS, and just turning the camera is. It jumps out at me because I'm so familiar with those levels that when I turn the camera, I sort of expect a smoother image than I get, if that makes sense.
No, this game runs buttery smooth.
So like what are there like multiple portals around this battlefield that just zip you to like different corners of it while you're fighting?
Yep.
That's really interesting actually, because in a lot of Ratchet games, your MO for dodging enemy fire is just going to be jump side to side and shoot. But if you have those extra portals around that you can zip around the battlefield, close distance or create distance, attain a new tactical position to attack your enemies from, maybe even like if it disorients them for a few seconds and they have to take a little bit of time to find out where you are, there's possibility there. Oof.
I have never been good at Ratchet's side jump. It's a move that only he really has, so it takes me a while to get used to it whenever I jump into a game again.
Yeah, sometimes the side jump feels a bit like stiff in these games, I'm not gonna lie. Good old generic hoppy
Hoppers.
enemies that are in every Ratchet game, basically just to give you something to hit with your wrench.
Yeah, it's a boss fight, so I'm conserving ammo and not wasting it on the small fry. Because they die in one hit regardless, so. Well, why would he be targeting anything else, Ratchet? I mean, Clank, sorry.
So
Yeah, you can see me holding the trigger fully to do the double shot now.
is Nefarious like flying the top of his own float right now?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a Nefarious move, all right. I still resent Nefarious basically taking over the franchise, but I when he's on screen, I just can't hate him.
He has very much Joker syndrome of like there are a lot of times where a Joker will like show up in a Batman story and it'll just take over and you're just kind of tired because like you don't want to always have Joker, but so many of the stories also use him to good effect, so you're like, oh, you can't like completely hate him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good writing potential and almost a seemingly endless supply of writing potential, but at the same time, there are other good villains, and at one point the series was making up new ones all the time, and yeah, the one from Tools of Destruction was kind of lame, but other than that, they were all winners. So I wish they'd do more of that. I hope they do more of that. Like, maybe they're pulling out Nefarious here, and by the end of the game they'll introduce someone new. So, you never know, but yeah, it just, like, it got really lame when they were doing the reboot and the movie where Nefarious just sort of took over the original game story. It's almost as if, like, you went back to Zelda 1 and Ganon was hijacked by the guy from Twilight Princess instead of the other way around.
Fast loading.
Oh,
Well-
here we go. Now they're just flexing, you know?
Yeah. I don't care. It looks amazing.
And these, like, vast environments that we're going to see for, like, 5 seconds apiece.
Thank you, Spider-Verse. Wasn't it the plate? I think that was a level from Tools of Destruction.
Yes, it was.
Oh, God, this is definitely Haven City. I assume that...
Robot pirates.
I assume that since they...
Yay. Yep.
I assume that since they... Oh, boy. Oh, boy. These guys again. But, like, I assume that since we're seeing all these assets for all these environments, we're going to go through some of these levels later.
I imagine so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
pretty cool if so. We get some sneak peeks at some future levels at the very beginning of the game.
Teleportation, yeah. Scooby-Doo.
And then the Crimson Guard stomps up, knocks you out, and 2 years pass. And in those 2 years, Clank gets a job as an exterminator. Oh no. That's not good.
I love how he just kind of cowers in fear. He's about to get hit in the face with a wrench.
Again.
Boom. Oops.
Oh,
Uh-oh, we broke the space-time continuum again.
Again, yes. Oh no, Clank is broken. Again.
Clank, you're supposed to be the Lord of Time. You should understand this.
I hate that story point. I hope they ignore it.
What have you done?
I like how Alterverse Ratchet Girl has a hammer as a weapon.
Let's go for a ride.
Like, you know, sticking with the weapon as a tool for building things motif. What?
Hey, it's Emperor Nefarious' tower.
Wait, so Nefarious got...
He succeeded. He got into the universe where he won.
He basically took over his own body from the other universe?
No. Hard to say, but I imagine now there's two of them running around.
Yeah,
Based on
now he's
dialogue
gonna find
later.
now he's gonna see. I presume he's gonna see the second guy now.
Oh.
Well, no, it's more so dialogue here.
Oh,
Nefarious.
Oh, okay.
Have returned early from
So I assume Emperor Nefarious is out there somewhere.
I assume that's probably gonna be the final boss of the evil Nefarious.
Oh. Oh,
Like the assistant joining in.
so we're not going to see that Nefarious in this video?
Not in this video, no.
Ah. Well,
I'm doing the first hour, 15 minutes or so. I want everyone to be interested in this game, but I don't want to spoil anything for anyone.
Yeah, which is good, especially because I'm probably gonna be like years since I'm gonna play it too, so I want to keep a lot of it fresh as well.
yeah. I'm trying not to
Time
think
to
about
get
how
into
long it's going to be.
The time to get into the first kind of level proper. After that mighty impressive intro section.
Oh, yes. Oh, look, a ground reflection effect that doesn't look like complete garbage.
What is this place?
So I wonder if we're going to get another reference to the fact that Tools of Destruction completely forgot Angela existed.
And also the fact that because they were because what they said was that female Lombaxes don't have tails, and then now Rivet has a tail,
Rivet
so they're
happened.
like, oops. And the answer is simply because Insomniac doesn't care. They're like, please stop asking us.
Stop asking for intricate details on our cartoony platformer.
So, for context, since a lot of people probably aren't familiar with the series, in Going Commando, the second game, they introduced a character named Angela, who is a female Lombax. Same species as Ratchet here. Then in Tools of Destruction, they had this whole plot line where Ratchet was the last of his species, and they sort of forgot that Angela already had been introduced several games beforehand. So in the game after that, A Crack in Time, I think, they have a news broadcast where they reference Angela, and there's some debate as to whether Angela is really a Lombax. And the female news anchor gets really annoyed at the male news anchor when he points out that she doesn't have a tail, so maybe she's not a Lombax. And she just goes off on him about how in many species the two sexes look different, you know? So, but like now we have what's her name, the new one,
Rivet.
who does have a tail, and it's like, okay, are we going to just pretend that that joke wasn't made.
I mean, I don't know how, I don't know like where Rivet's gonna go, but this is also like an alternate dimension, so it's like, oh, maybe in this alternate dimension, the long axes are different, which it's like,
Rivet.
yeah, I feel like, yeah.
As in the thing a ratchet turns.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's clever.
I see what they did there. Okay. Although she uses a hammer, and I don't think you use hammers with rivets. It's a little awkward.
I mean, you could, but it wouldn't work as well. We'll see Rivet a little bit later on towards the end of this video, but she has a good personality as well.
I know she's playable, and I know like the game sort of goes back and forth between the two. Are we seeing another game where Ratchet is separated from? Oh, were you just using the helicopter as a courtesy, Ratchet? You got these fancy jet boots. You don't need Ratchet.
Well, because he has those boots. Well, because he had those boots in Crack in Time. I loved using those boots, like especially when you could when you can use like the jet booster and like just kind of like zoom around. Like I loved that.
But like earlier in the video, when he needed to do a hover jump, he just used Clank's helicopter jump instead of his own boots, and it's like
hi, alternate dimension Zircon.
Were you only doing wait, Mrs. Zircon?
Oh no, Ms. Zircon now.
Oh, from the reboot. I remember you.
The big boss.
She's trying to be conspicuous about the resistance, but she's very bad at it.
She was the boss who was kind of funny and almost challenging until you realize that you could just buy full health refills in the same room. Kind of broke the thing a little bit. I'm not really sure why they did that. But like, okay. I'm liking the wet fur effect. Did they do that in previous games?
Not to this extent, I don't think.
Yeah, what the hell, man? Go after her. Don't just stand there. Oh, okay, guess not.
Well, he doesn't have a ship, so.
No, but still, he was just kind of standing there instead of running after them, and then the ship goes off, and they're like, oh.
Oh boy. So now we need to find,
it also kind of gives me, design-wise, also kind of reminds me of Nowhere from Guardians of the Galaxy. Has that look to it.
I'm enjoying.
I like how Ratchet just goes along with it.
I'm enjoying this dialogue. It's good to see a Ratchet who's fun again.
It's Mr. Fun Guy.
I mean, Ratchet did.
You don't have the Negatron Collider though.
Ratchet did get like better natured, like more pleasant and less of a douchebag as the games went on, but in the reboot and the movie tie-in, he was just kind of insufferably goody two-shoes, and it was so weird hearing the same voice coming out of his mouth as regular Ratchet. But now it's good to have you back, my friend. Okay.
Yeah, we get an option grenade. Mr. Fun Guy.
Mr.
The
Fun
Negatron Collider.
Yeah, we saw in the preview video, basically you throw a grenade and the little guy pops out and shoots the guys for you and distracts them.
I hope that the combat gets more tactical in this game. I mean, I can see potential for that with the rifts and everything. But one of the...
We're still early on. So.
Yeah, one of the things that sort of happened to the Ratchet games as the series went on was that the combat strategies that you needed to employ to defeat the different groups of enemies started to become a bit more homogenous across the game. Part of it was just like the controls got better, so your maneuverability as you shot got better. So you didn't need to make as much use of the different weapons and their different ranges and different abilities as you did in Ratchet 1, where you couldn't strafe and shoot unless you used the stupid slow jet booster upgrade. And
yeah, first Raritanium.
Oh, yay, Raritaniums. And so, does it work the same way it does in like the future games of like upgrading your
they're your upgrade currency.
Yeah, I've always liked that in how the Raritanium work is that it gives you like a thing of like, oh, you can like give them more ammo, give them more range, you get more bolts with them, have like little extra effects like acid or whatever.
I definitely prefer that to what the reboot did, which was just like an upgrade grid that didn't really have much effect per square.
I mean, it's still sort of a grid, but it's just a separate currency. So your bolts and your raritanium are different entirely. So
Well, I mean, what I'm more
that's clearly the way to go. So I'm going to go the other way.
what I'm more referring to is like, does each individual upgrade have an impact, or is it just a bunch of really
Yes.
small upgrades?
No, they have an impact.
Okay, good.
It's things like more. It's like more ammo or more.
Yeah, that's more
range. More range for your shotgun.
That's more tolerable. In the reboot, it was kind of like just like a bajillion really small upgrades that did add up over time, but didn't really feel like they did a whole lot one by one. And I've never liked that kind of upgrade system. I guess we'll see.
The sooner I find
Ooh, optional area.
Phantom, the sooner I can get to Clank.
Oh,
Now I know
so just
Fast loading.
Whoa.
nice. Wait, is this like just a nothing dimension?
I guess, yeah. But hey, here's where some of the balloons went.
It's null. It's null space.
I'm glad to see that we're doing a bit more platforming. That's actually really, I'm glad to see that. Platforming, like, it didn't completely disappear from Ratchet, but it did kind of fall by the wayside a little bit. Like, it became sort of a background focus. With these rifts, though, I can see, like, there being more exploration in this game than I'm used to in the recent titles.
For sure. High cork balloon.
There's a giant smile.
There's shiny teeth in him.
I mean, it's easy to forget this with the direction that the games went after going Commando, but the Ratchet and Clank series was done by the same people as Spyro the Dragon, so
Yep.
Yes.
the platforming in the
Well,
earlier games was really good.
Well, so much so that Agent 9 in Spyro 3 is basically just a tech demo for Ratchet.
Oh,
Well, look at that.
yes, indeed.
Permanent upgrade plus cosmetic. We got Rivet's helmet.
Here, nice.
Oh. So you get a permanent passive upgrade, and you can...
And it doesn't matter you equip them or not. It's just a permanent upgrade. And if you want, you get the item to put on if you want.
Excellent.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
Like, ever since the second game, they have been doing armor upgrades, but I've always dreaded getting one because the armor itself looks bad.
No, you don't have to wear any at all if you don't
Yeah,
want.
like-
You can still get the bonuses. So we got her emoji, and you can give it colors.
Oh, nice. So you can personalize Ratchet in this game. That's good. Because like the Ratchet that I really like, the overall look and feel that I really like is actually the Tools of Destruction design. This design essentially, but like in a lot of games, even in the reboot, you'll lose that look after a while because of some mandatory armor upgrade or a costume change that happens at a certain point in the story, or you just don't have it at all in like 2 or 3 because you have armor. And I've never really liked the armor. Kind of just looks like it's not part of the character design, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I usually never get the armor, just mostly because I like playing the game I like just playing the game like on my lowest armor, because I'm like, oh, if I end up dying, then that just means I can grind for more XP and bolts. So it's like, oh, I just keep playing the game as is like that.
So you turn the inevitable deaths into an opportunity to get more.
Experience.
Yeah,
Farming.
yeah, for farming and grinding, and it's like I don't die like so. It's not like super hard that it's like, oh, like that becomes annoying. It's like, oh, maybe I'll die like an extra 2 times in an area, but it's like, oh, it's fine. It's like you just blast through it. It's like it's only like adds a couple minutes of gameplay.
Yeah,
So like it's an added thing that I enjoy doing in Ratchet games.
I'm just glad that you can go after the armor and equipment upgrades in this game and, make Ratchet look however you want. Because, like, if I wanted the armor upgrades in going Commando or up your arsenal, I would need to just resign myself to looking even worse than I did before. And whenever I play the stupid reboot, I have to deal with that stupid, ugly blue Galactic Ranger armor, which sucks. Ugh.
Haven City.
Man, this really just makes me want a Jak and Daxter remake.
I know, right? It's like imagine like Jack 2 looking like this instead of kind of the dirt brown it was in the PS2 days.
Oh, sure. Like, I would love to see the Jack trilogy remade with this technology. It's never gonna happen, though. Like, they didn't know they didn't know what they wanted to do with Jack and Daxter while they were making it. I wouldn't expect them to figure out what they're going to do with it nowadays. And you know, if it's not fun for them to make a particular series, it's better to just let it die. But all the same, my inner child wants to see it.
Yeah. I'm sure Sony could find another competent studio who would be more than willing to do so.
Well, they tried outsourcing it. It didn't work so well. That was
Also the guy we're trying to find is
Skid.
Skid. Yay.
Skid McMarks. So, did this Skid McMarks design originate with the reboot, or did they use that design in one of the future games before the reboot?
No, I'm pretty sure the reboot was the first time he was in, because I don't remember. I don't think he. No, because he was first in the reboot because at the end of Up Your Arsenal he was a robot, and I don't remember them ever actually resolving that. So
Oh,
he was just So like they created that design for 2016, and then I guess they just brought it in. It's like, oh, he's not a robot anymore.
yeah. Because like I know the plumber's design comes from the future games, but I wasn't sure if Skid McMarks ever appeared. So that's interesting.
Grapple hook.
Think I'm with the resistance.
Man, there's so much detail in these levels.
It's easy to get lost in, so I'm actually really impressed because I have a very good sense of direction, especially in games. But they're so dense and visually appealing that even I get a little bit turned around.
I want to
So
see.
that's pretty impressive.
I want to see more cartoony type games with this kind of graphical style. Because, like, yeah, I know we've got Super Mario Odyssey and all nowadays, but, like, that's on the Switch, so the graphics are kind of, like, a second priority. But, like, this is freaking
Hey, it's
beautiful.
a golden bolt.
Are we back to
the
golden
golden
bolts
bolt!
instead of
Oh,
platinum
he's here.
bolts?
He's here.
Are we back to gold bolts instead of platinum bolts?
Yes.
Huh. Because that was, like, a weird sort of, like, underplayed escalation in in Going Commando, is that the giant secret bolts that you could find for unlockables were the gold bolts, and all the other bolts that you got were, like, bronze and silver bolts. But then in Going Commando, the regular currency was bronze, silver, and gold bolts because the amount of currency you got started to go up. And then the big secret bolts became the platinum bolts. So, interesting.
Gold bolts just look more iconic.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
so. Also, in the PS2's graphical style, I literally could not visually tell the difference between platinum and gray. So,
Yeah.
bit unfortunate.
I mean, even in these games, all the small bolts you get all pretty much look exactly the same. It's hard to distinguish their colors, so...
Well, there's a lighting engine now, so the colors don't really stand out in this particular kind of environment. In a brighter, sunnier environment, I can see them being more visually distinct. But the different colors did, even though you didn't have to pay attention to them in any way, the different colors did denote different denominations of bolts. So, like, if you were picking up a gold bolt, you would be getting more bolts than you would be if you picked up a silver bolt. And the bronze bolts were always like 1 in Ratchet 1. Okay.
Arena complete. So, optional area. Zoom.
I like that we're seeing more optional areas and different paths to explore.
Gold bolt.
It is interesting that you have to think about using these rifts to get from place to place rather than just thinking in terms of, okay, the gold bolt is over there, so I should search in this immediate area for the way over there. You do have to widen your search area to find the secrets when you're accounting for these rifts everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that changing the dynamic of how exploration works.
We'll see at the tail end that as you go along, it will point marks of interest on your map. So whenever you come back here, you'll remember where
Right.
a gold bolt you may not have gotten
Is this
earlier.
city
so.
kind of like an open area, or is it just a level?
It's mostly a level for right now. It gets a bit more open as we'll get more abilities, but it planet hops as far as I can tell in this game.
So, it's like it's like a more open level environment rather than a linear one.
Functionally, kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Like the marketplace we were in earlier is very much, kind of a centerpiece as we go back there 1 or 2 times.
I'm absolutely on board for that because linearity was something that sort of took over the series after the second game, starting with the third game and becoming more pronounced from that point onward. So a little bit more exploration in my Ratchet levels would definitely go a long way toward keeping me invested. Just as long as they don't do that stupid open field crystal hunting minigame again. That's something that I could definitely live without ever seeing again. So, did you guys come from ARMS or something? I'm pretty sure like that's literally one of the weapons that I used to use all the time when I was playing ARMS.
It's also in Smash Brothers because I'm in Min. One of her arms.
Min. I think it's Min.
Yes, it's Min.
I haven't actually played as her yet.
Yeah, good old Shoddy. You never let me down.
Like that is one of the most things I'm really excited to when I eventually get to try out a PS5 is I want to try out how those like triggers work because everything I've heard about
the dual sense is so nice. I didn't expect to like the controller as much as I did.
Yeah, like I heard guys explain like when they were playing Spider-Man and like when you feel it when you're swinging how like in the
you feel the tension in the web scene. It's like how did you do that?
Yeah, and like they say it's like it feels like there's more tension in Miles Morales because he's still trying to figure it out, and then when you play the remastered, it's a lot smoother. So it's like that attention to detail is just like God, I want to feel that because that sounds so like genius.
That sounds more immersive than Rumble to me. Like, I'm really not a fan of Rumble, but if they've managed to finally improve it to the point where it adds something, then I'm all for that. What are you doing?
Power glove. It's so bad. We get a dash.
Yay! Okay, so it is
dash.
in this game. Nice.
Yep, Phantom Dash.
Huh.
Oh, this is Persona. Damn it.
Yeah, so that's clearly the way forward. I'm going to go back to the door I saw earlier. I actually forgot there's a pile of Veritanium back at the marketplace, but
this looks fun.
Yeah, so it's not just a sidestep anymore. You can just straight up dash around.
I do like the after images.
Back.
Like, it looks like a pretty nice effect.
Very much so.
Why did you go back there?
Because I didn't know if that was an alternate path or not.
Oh, okay.
So I went through the door that I couldn't before earlier, and he's like, "Oh, you can go through these doors now." So like, okay, I'm gonna turn right around and go through the other door. It's like, no, that's just a shortcut back.
Oh, I see.
So fast way to get back if you need to.
I want this game. I need it in my life.
So it's so good.
I should record the other Ratchet games. I'm just trying to get a copy of Ratchet and Clank 1 for PS2 so that I can record that instead of the HD version.
Which isn't very good from what I hear, yeah.
It's not the worst HD remaster I've ever played, but that's only because I played the Silent Hill ones. Like, it doesn't have as many graphical bugs as some of the later Ratchet ones do, but it does still have some bad ones. Like, for some reason, the final boss music just doesn't play.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
Sometimes Quark's eyes go a bit screwy.
Yeah, because the HD collection has a lot of graphical bugs, but I wouldn't say there's nothing like too game-breaking. Like if you decide to play the HD collection version, you're still playing the.
Like it's nothing like what I've seen for Deadlocked, which has some really bad graphical bugs, and that's the main reason I haven't played that remaster yet, because I was like, this is just not going to be the best way to play the game. But like
platforming section.
I'm trying to save up for some sort of upscaler so that I can play my my PS2 on an actually good monitor.
Yeah, I just use my my fat PS3 for that.
Lucky you. You seem to get all the consoles that I can't find.
A fat PS3 that still works. Gasp.
Yeah.
I take care of my systems, damn it.
Well, I mean, I still have an OG Xbox 360 that still works, so it's like...
That's even rarer than a working fat PS3. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have a PS2. I have a lot of games for it. I just need an upscaler.
Fair enough.
I have a fat PS2, but it's like one of those where it's like, oh, PS1 games and like black and blue discs don't work on it because
Yeah.
they're so old.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, it has to be an upscaler, too, because, like, my main monitor is a PC monitor, and it flat out does not know what to do with any signal
RCAs
that
and
isn't
stuff.
actually 1080 or something. So, yeah. But, like, real upscalers cost, like, as much as consoles on their own.
If not more, yeah.
Yeah, so... Oh, well.
Good old shoddy.
I can't wait to see what other weapons show up in this game, because the Ratchet series at this point has a long list of varied and amazing weapons to draw from.
Well, we'll get one more weapon before this video is through.
I hope
so.
they're more imaginative than the Pixelizer this time, though, because, like, the Pixelizer was funny. It turned enemies into pixels, but functionally it didn't really do much other than be a gun.
Well, the Pixelizer was kind of like a shot. It was like a shotgun, only it turned people into pixels. So I was like, oh, like it worked like functionally like the shotguns normally do.
Yeah, so it's like it's a fun little weapon, but it doesn't really add anything to the gameplay the way some of the other weapons they've added do. Like,
Are there any repeats? Do you know? Was there any repeats you recognized in this game? Are they all original?
I mean, the general blaster and shotgun are kind of the same almost regardless of what they do, so...
yeah, you haven't had.
They're-
How far have you gotten as of this recording?
I've gone as far as the end of this video, because I didn't want to go...
So you haven't really played any
No.
further in and experimented with the weapons.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's fair. That's fair. You just got the code, so.
Yeah, I got the code literally yesterday, so...
This environment.
I want to get this
man.
out because it's release day.
This environment, man. There's so much going on in the background.
I know, I want game. I'm so glad games can actually look like this now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the designs of all the the nefarious the goons, they kind of remind me of the designs of the Cragmite things from Tools of Destruction, because they had that whole like dome design
Yeah.
of like a robot thing with a little person inside the head. And I always loved that whenever you destroyed them, they just kind of end up being like a fish thing that just flops around, and then you can just step on them and squish them.
Tutorializer.
Yeah, because it's teaching you how to do the upgrades.
Okay.
It's completely free.
Okay, that's actually kind of cute.
Everything in the tutorializer is completely free. Because you can't actually use it.
Okay.
It's all microtransactions because of the raritanium.
This is kind of like the grid from the reboot, but how large is each weapon's like upgrade grid?
Fairly big. We'll see once I actually get to it.
I'm on the fence. Like, you know, I didn't exactly.
Yeah, and if you get all the upgrades around like a
Yeah.
big gold cell, you get that from.
Yeah, the reboot had a similar thing going on. I'm on
Yeah,
the
they
fence.
did the same thing. Yeah, they did the exact same thing.
Yeah, but fire shots are more accurate. Like, maybe if they downsize it a little.
And so here are the trees for the box for the guns for the moment. Obviously, once you level them up, you get more squares to fill in. So
That's
Yeah,
fair
so
enough.
pretty much is the same thing, like the PS4 thing. Yeah, because I didn't mind how the PS4 thing did, just because it's like, oh, I'm like I can focus on like whatever I have available. Like, okay, I'm gonna focus on ammo this time, or I'm gonna focus on the one I always like to focus on. Like, oh, like if there's like, oh, you kill enemies, you get more raritanium. I'll do that because it's like, oh, you get more raritanium, and then I can go and upgrade them more.
upgrade more stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew teaching you this would be easy peasy.
So wait, are there big three square spots that need to be surrounded? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no, yeah,
surround them,
because
and then you get
they-
the things on the inside.
Yeah, because the PS4 game had a couple of things like that where there'd just be like a big selection of like 3 slots, and you just go around
Right.
in a circle, and it's like you basically just get one thing. It's just an excuse for them to fill up the grid.
It's been a while, so. Ah, well. I'm sure it'll grow on me if it's attached to a better game than it was last time.
It's a fine enough system. It's not too obtrusive.
As long as it's
Because
as long as it's attached to a better game than it was attached to last time, I will be content. I I might be like slightly knee jerking at it because I'm just not fond of the reboot at all.
Thanks again for the help, Secret Agent Zircon.
I do like them
Whoa.
bringing Mrs. Zircon back though. That seems like one of the creations that they had the most fun with last time around.
Wait, you can see me?
Okay, so
Starship ready?
is Skid McMarx kind of the Torn of this universe or what?
Well, we don't see him for very long.
Oh.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I think there is like I feel like there's a thing where like in Up Your Arsenal it's revealed that he's a hacker. So it's like he's like this master hacker in this game because because it gets a reference to him being a hacker in Up Your Arsenal.
Oh.
I mean, functionally speaking, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, I haven't actually finished Up Your Arsenal. It just kind of lost my interest halfway through. Part of it was burnout because I played Ratchet 1 and Ratchet 2 back-to-back right before it. But the other part of it was that I just don't like Up Your Arsenal. It feels like it had half the budget and half the time that the other two games did, and they didn't manage that particularly well. And sure, Dr. Nefarious is funny. A lot of the cutscenes are funny. Everything involving Captain Quark is funny by default. But
I hope there's an alternate universe Quark.
it just
Alternate
kind of
dimension Quark.
it just kind of felt like a downgrade. The level design, everything.
Yeah, because I was wondering if because then they had pretty much like not like shown or mentioned Quark for pretty much the entire pretty much up until this game came out because like we weren't sure about regarding Jim Ward, so like we weren't sure if he was going to be even in the game or not. So it's like I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't an alternate dimension Quark, but that would be like a shit that would be funny to have to show to see how that Quark and again because since you recast Nefarious for the alternate universe, you can get away with recasting the alternate universe Quark because there's precedent for it.
It's like it's not the first time that games have used a voice actor change to pull off something funny. Like in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, the entire reason they de-aged Heihachi was because they had to change voice actors.
Or of course, Persona 5.
There is
back to
Persona
that
5,
again.
yes. Persona 5
and
did
also-
a funny thing with that.
And there was also a thing with Going Commando where they cast Jim Ward as the guy, and then they decided, we want to have Quark in this game. How about we make him Quark? So it's like, they kind of like lucked out by having he kind of sounded like Quark because he was Quark, but it's like you didn't really think about that because it's just the same actor.
Those two were voiced by the same actor?
Yep, they're both Jim Ward.
I didn't know that. Now I do, and that makes that whole twist seem a little bit more amusing to me.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I've always liked it whenever stories do that kind of like twist with voice actors, where it's like you have a voice actor and it's like, they kind of sound like another character, but it's like, it's because the voice actor, because they're the same voice actor, so you kind of like are leaning on it. But then they're like, they're actually the same person the whole time, so you're like, that's clever. It's like
I mean, doing it in the opposite direction was Metal Gear Solid 5. So.
yeah, and that too. Yeah, there's that. They did that where they make you think because they've had somebody else. Or like I always use the example of Futurama, where it's like, they had one of the characters play a different character. They kind of sounded like a character that they play as, but you're like, because they play like 5 other characters, so it's fine. And then it's no, they were that person the whole time. So it's like using that to using that to trick the audience.
Okay.
Here's our hacking minigame.
Ooh, I want to see what the puzzles in this game are, because Ratchet is like the one, because I never care for puzzles in video games except in Ratchet. For some reason, the puzzle Ratchet and Spider-Man PS4, it's like this. The Insomniac are somehow make me like love like to play like these puzzle mini games.
They do some fairly fun hacker puzzles.
Well, we'll see in a minute or two.
Wait, what did he just do?
He got captured by the goons.
Why did he do that?
Me to get to the bazaar from
Why?
It's probably like one of those things of like, they were cornered, so he's like, I'm gonna let myself escape so you can go. I'm gonna let myself get captured so you can escape.
Basically.
But there were only 2 of them.
Well, see, it's always it's that thing in like so many games where it's like, you can like take down a giant horde of enemies, but then like and then once you get to a story cutscene and it's like, there's like 3 of them that capture.
That was some like Sonic the Hedgehog speed rail grinding just there. I'm I'm absolutely not used to that in Ratchet. Rail grinding in Ratchet is generally pretty slow.
Need a beam that will not quit?
That was a good moment.
Last
though.
weapon of the video, Negatron Collider.
Oh, okay. What's this one do?
Massive energy beam.
Oh, okay.
Mega Man.
Bizort.
Oh, nice.
It is a it's like Mega Man crossed with Samus's Buster.
Oh, can you like sweep the laser across enemies? Like,
Yep. Boom.
oh,
that's
that is nice. I can see that being really fun to use. It just becomes a massive persistent hitbox as long as it's active. I want it. I want it.
I mean, the problem is obviously that it has very low ammo.
Yeah.
Also, you probably saw online they posted the Rhino, and you see like what the Rhino does, and it's like, oh, that's so cool.
The
I won't
Rhino.
spoil it just in case if you didn't see it, but it's like you can look at it on Insomniac's Twitter. They posted it, and it's like, oh, it's so cool. The Rhino
So
they do in this game.
The Rhino's different than it usually is what you're saying?
Well, it functions the same way, but it has like a fun little like perk and quirk to it that it's like, oh yeah. Again, like if you look it up, you'll be like, oh, that's so clever what they did with it.
Well,
Boss fight.
they do need more. They do need something more specialized nowadays than just a really big gun, because you know, we've had the Rhino for how many games? How many games long has this series been?
It depends on how many, because there's like the 3 main games. There's the spin-off Deadlocked, Size Matters, and Secret Agent Clank, which are also spin-offs. The 3 future games, All for One and Full Frontal Assault, which I think are kind of spin-offs. Into the Nexus.
So the point is, we've had a really
yeah.
fucking a long series, and the Rhino has been here since the beginning. So yeah, I'd say they.
Teleportation, yeah.
Oops.
Changing boss arena.
Oh, this is the dinosaur area from I think Tools of Destruction was also in this.
I guess we can't really change the entire environment as quickly as that, so we do need that in between buffer for some of the rifts, but
It's like a second.
Yeah,
so
it's like
still
2
really
second.
impressive.
It's a 2 second buffer where you're falling through like a space, like a warp in space time. It's like, oh, if you're gonna complain about that, then it's like.
nah, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I
it's
know.
just I could see it being even more versatile if they could eliminate even that, but I guess we aren't quite there yet. I mean,
And back to where we were.
for as short as it is still a load time. Can't get around it, but oh man.
Oop, thank you for killing the enemy for me. And 3 rare titanium for my trouble.
Excellent.
I'll put glitch in a second. I gotta refill my health, Ratchet.
And now I'm sad because I know I'm not going to be able to play this game for like months at the least.
Mini game time.
I will say that like some of the shininess on the fur under this lighting does look a bit off.
I'm Ratchet.
Like not quite right.
Messing around earlier.
Glitch is adorable.
Oh, his face.
Actually, I think you're the only one who can help me right now.
Are you seriously having a heart-to-heart with your hacking device?
Yes.
That wink.
And now we're playing as Glitch.
Wait, what?
Ooh.
This feels like something that should be a frickin' Clank minigame. Okay.
Well, Clank's not here right now, so.
Clank's been replaced.
Again, and now the design's kind of giving me crack in time, like the Clank sections in there for some reason. Like the design of like the pipes gives me a lot of Clank vibes.
I did always like these little puzzle levels that you played as Clank, but this is new. This is interesting. How long does this go? Like a minute?
Just a minute or two. Yeah.
So it sort of comes off as like one of the Mr. Toad puzzles.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Also, Glitch is adorable.
Captain Toad.
She talks during the middle of
Why
this.
did I say Mr. Captain Toad? He didn't go to Captain Toad.
Mr. Toad.
He didn't go to
Mr.
Captain
Toad's my
school.
father.
He didn't go to Captain School to be called Mr. Thank you very much.
Well, he didn't go to school at all. He's kind of an idiot.
Okay.
Yeah, Glitch
so-
is adorable, and I love her.
Yeah, I can see this being a fun diversion. Doesn't seem to last quite as long as the Clank sections would in other games. So it's like I like the Clank sections, but sometimes you're just not quite in the mood to hang around inside them quite as long as they go on. So it happens. Oh,
Wink.
And the terminal's back online, so a little bit of cutscenes, and then it'll be at the end of the video. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing this. This was so much fun.
I can't wait. It does kind of feel like the Ratchet series has gone on a little too long, spinning its wheels, and this is the shot in the arm the series needs. But I guess we'll see as we go. It's a little too early in the game to say that definitively, but I'm hoping it is.
Destroying cannons and
Oh, hi, Nefarious.
covering the entire city. If only that blasted dimensionator still worked.
So,
Clank.
Ratchet, you.
Bonk.
Oh, it actually worked. No, because there's like a running gag where every time, like in so many Ratchet games, he tries to do that like slow, like hit somebody on the chair, and there's nobody on the chair. But now he actually hits somebody on the chair.
I love this guy. I love this guy coming up.
okay.
Welcome, oh master of us all.
Needs a password.
Password, please.
Okay.
Guess what the password is?
Is it
Quark!
password?
On a sticky note.
Oh,
And it works.
Okay. So, the password is why do I need a password? But he puts it on
I'm
a
the
sticky
Emperor.
note anyway.
Yeah, so we can remember it.
Okay.
Lucas wipe.
yeah.
In this dimension.
Oh, they did
Hi.
that on purpose. They absolutely did
Yes.
that on purpose.
Yeah,
That's
look,
them
look at
that's
this
them
place,
flexing
yeah.
that's them flexing the solid state drive load times, I'm sure of it.
Miraculously,
Like
among
real-time
us to
Lucas wipe.
save the day.
And get home.
You must seriously think I'm an idiot.
Yeah, and that was the first level with Ratchet, so now at this point we're going to be transferring to Rivet, but, end of the video, I didn't want to do an entire playthrough for you guys immediately, so... Because I also needed to get this ready for day one launch, so...
What's going on?
Also, Rivet's kind of a terrible pilot.
So I guess the level after this is a Rivet level.
Yep.
Look out.
Too bad we won't be seeing any of her videos almost over.
I think
Yep.
Clank's missing an arm, and Rivet has a robot arm.
That's actually kind of cute. It's the same arm too.
Yep. Yeah, no, then it transfers to the Rivet section, so that's the first about hour 15 of the game. Man, I had fun playing this and I want to play more, but gotta edit this up now. Once again, I'd like to thank Sony, PlayStation, and Insomniac Games for getting us the preview code so we can play this a little bit ahead of time and get this video out to you. Thanks so much, and thanks you all for watching. Later.